The Greycat MTC is a brand new 4-wheeled ground vehicle that's aiming to carve out its own space in Star Citizen lineup. It draws comparisons to the Tumbril Cyclone series in performance, but its design and utility lean more towards the Ursa Rover, especially with the enclosed interior and the left side central entrance. From the outside, interaction points are minimal and actually somewhat useful. You have the main door, a fuel tank, external storage on the opposite side of the door, and extendable trunk that holds up to 4 handheld cargo containers. It's built somewhat like a proper military vehicle, chunky, armored, and practical. You can get it from the outline or the bulkiness of this vehicle, and the combat-ready looking wheels it has. Inside the compact interior of this vehicle, it features many interesting things, like the lighting controls of the interior, modules positioned behind the plates on both sides, the left and right of the vehicle inside. Even fuses can be found there. You'll also find 4 weapon racks for small and medium weapons, 1 large rack flanked by 2 armor lockers. Everything you need for a small crew to stay combat ready. Ideally, it's of course meant for 2 players, but I wouldn't see a problem if instead of armor lockers we would have seats. The driver sits in the center and can operate the turret if there is no passenger. The turret itself is armed with 2 size 2 Badger repeaters. Standard but reliable. There is actually one neat feature. It's a deployable armor plate system that covers the small left and right side windows of the driver, shielding you a bit more from the sides while keeping the frontal visibility. I think they could have included some shielding for a frontal window as well, because that would have made it seem like you're going into combat mode, and it would have looked awesome, although probably it would have impaired your vision quite a bit. If a co-pilot or a passenger is present, they can sit opposite to the door. From there they can pull down the foldable display or controls, basically a screen, on the right side and take over the turret control. This gives them access to proper aiming with this tool, aiming with crosshairs, making the gun much more effective at longer ranges, and definitely more efficient when just purely being controlled by the driver who's driving and firing at the same time. As expected for a combat vehicle, the MTC comes equipped with a shield generator, giving it a boost in survivability. In terms of size, it's actually quite large, comparable by dimensions to the Ursa Rover, but it actually does seem a bit wider and with a taller turret profile. Fitting into the ships like the Constellation is possible, but it's tight. The turret's height and the wheel's width can make it a challenge for transport. When compared to the Cyclone series, like the Cyclone TR, the MTC features better weapons, more durability, and full crew protection. While slightly slower, its wide, flat design helps it stay upright when hitting bumps and obstacles. It handles rough terrain well and feels more stable than many of the other vehicles at high speeds. When comparing to the Ursa, MTC has less internal space and lower overall health, but the Ursa is more of a troop transport, whereas the MTC is designed more for combat and scouting. The Ursa also has 2 weapons, but they're of size 1, while the MTC has 2 size 2s. So the MTC has more firepower but is slightly less durable. Not to mention their different role, where Ursa transports troops and the MTC is more towards scouting, fast assaults and other things of that nature. In close quarters combat, the driver can eyeball the turret controls by watching where the rounds land in third person. The Badger repeater's high ammo count and pretty steady stream of fire help with adjusting the aim when on the move. Likely not effective at long ranges, but great for defensive driving scenarios. My only real concern is fitting this vehicle inside the ships. Everything else about the MTC I really enjoy. The wide build makes it more stable, especially when hitting terrain obstacles at speeds. It also climbs pretty well, and even when the front nose hits the surface, it rarely tips over. One thing that is becoming more obvious is that we need fewer rocks or better road infrastructure on the planets. Traversing the surface of the planets or the moons is often pain due to how cluttered they are. That said, I could absolutely see the Greycat MTC serving as a solid scouting or support vehicle. The rear box slots suggest potential for delivery or utility missions, but I'd still focus on combat and tactical mobility. With the NPCs now spawning outside the bunkers, this is a stylish and capable way of making an entrance. With this vehicle in mind, I'd really love to see more ground-focused gameplay content in the future, because honestly, there just really isn't enough of it. If you get a chance, I highly recommend checking out the Greycat MTC. It gives off strong military armored truck vibes, and fills the space right between Ursa and the Cyclone. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.